What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Be sure to drop that sub because we're well over 1,000 subscribers. Now, we're deep diving into what is a valuation, their part in startups and venture capital, why it's important, and 5 startup valuation techniques that investors and founders alike look for when valuing their startups. Now, why is valuations important? Because that's a very important question, and why is it a good use of your time? Well, valuations or valuing your startup is going to be very important to forecasting the direction of your startup, and essentially it's like your North Star. It determines the company's worth, which that's what everybody kind of knows, and it influences your decision making to fundraising, strategic hires, how to use your money better, and all these other things. And then when investors look at you and the health of your company, that's literally one of the first things that they look at when they're looking at your company. On top of when it comes to how much capital that you're asking for, did you smartly ask for it, and all these other things. Now you have your things like pre-money, post-money valuations, and all this other stuff, and I'm gonna get into that later. And plus on top of that, like if you're already like exited, you're probably watching this video, but you kind of know, you probably feel my pain on the 409A valuation template and all these other things. Just know that your valuation and keeping it up to date and accurate and everything that goes into it is very, very important. And here's a little snapshot, follow me on Twitter by the way, what valuations look for the early stage in the first quarter of 2024. Valuations do indeed drive the market, and if you're looking into other companies as well, getting the median of a certain sector is very useful information for your forecasting as well. So let's get into it just a little bit more. Alright guys, so now we're going to be getting into 5 valuation techniques that not only founders use but investors use in order to kind of guide the process of giving you the proper value for forecasting for your companies. First, we're going to be going over comp analysis or comparison analysis. First, let me preface this by saying, let me just give you an example, right? When you're going to go buy a house, do you just look at one price, or do you take a price that you're looking for to compare it to other houses on the market? Now, we're not doing this with houses in this case, but we're doing it with other startups. So just let me explain a little bit more clearly. So you're going to also hear this as the market multiple, because what you're going to do, you're going to take a piece or a metric from your startup, sales, GMV, EIDA if you got that far, something, and then compare it to something larger in your space. So just let me give you a quick example right here. All right, so here we go, right? Let's just say you have a gaming startup and it has 5 million users at 20 million, which is about 40 million per user. Now your startup, which is getting off the ground, has 1 million users, and you're gonna reach it. You're gonna reach its valuation using 4 million, because you got the 4 million by using the $40 per user and compare it against the 5 million users at 20 million. So yeah, so basically you're just gonna kind of scale that down just a little bit. So I thought that was really cool in that case. So next we're going to be going towards the scorecard method. And what's so cool about this one, right? You're doing the same thing in the last one. You're taking a comparable type of metric from a larger company, and then literally you're going to put it on this scorecard right here from the target company, and then you're going to create what's called a factor value. You take this factor value in this example that I'm giving you right here to get your valuation. That part, pretty easy. Next, you're gonna have the Burkus method, which is actually one of my favorite ones for companies that don't have a lot of financial history. And essentially what you're gonna do, it comes on a index of certain company traits and statistics, right? Now, sound idea, prototype, quality management, strategic relationships, product rollouts, and sales. And this is all gonna add up to a company value of about $500,000 or 500,000. Either scaled up to that max or scaled down depending. Now this is assuming that the company is going to have 20 million in revenue by year 5, but it should add up to around a $2 or $2.5 million valuation. So you can always kind of rely on that number when needed. This one's a little bit more advanced towards like the Series A or ones that are close or achieve product to market fit. But this is going to be the EIDA method, right? You can take your multiple, multiply that times your EIDA, which is this abbreviation right here, and then you just get the value of your startup. Now, every single industry has a multiple, right? And in this example, auto parts has a multiple of 3.03. So you multiply that times whatever EBITDA, and then you're going to get your valuation. Now, if we just take a specific example, right? If we take a multiple of 5 from whatever industry, and your company has an EBITDA of 1 million, then your valuation is going to be $5 million. I think it's about as simple as that one gets. Now, this last one I'm going to name is called asset/book value method of valuation. Now, this one can get a little bit confusing if your accounting is not up to par, and keep in mind book value and face value kind of changes, but pending you have the right conditions, it's going to be your total assets minus your total liabilities. And yeah, that's about as complicated as that one can get. And guys, there's other ones out there like the Chicago method and all these other things, but those are mostly kind of in theory. I like to use the ones that kind of have a lot of metrics involved, even if your company doesn't have the most sound finances or just ones existing there. So guys, like and subscribe, and I hope this helped.